Welcome back to Senior Support on your TV. We are talking today with Susan Lendvay from Canadian Hearing Services. Now, Susan, we learned a lot in the first half of the show. Now let's just talk about hearing screening, because we might have some viewers who are thinking to themselves, I wonder if I do have a hearing loss. And I understand you do some screening to help people determine that.
Yes, we do. Well, I have a little audiometer, a little carry case that I can take with me. And so we have options. I can meet the individual in their home and just do a quick screening. It really takes 5 minutes. It doesn't tell them the degree of hearing loss. It's not a prescription. It's just to tell them whether or not they should get the full test done. So we can do that, meet with them individually, or I can run a clinic if it's a group that's asking for many screenings.
Right. So a group, a club, or something like that could engage you to come and do that for their members if that was something they were interested in.
Correct.
Or maybe a seniors apartment building where there's a number of people and they want to have that in the common room. I'm thinking that might be something that works as well. What I've found in the past with some people in family and others that I know, there's a bit of a denial around whether a person has hearing loss. Sometimes it's the people around them that realize there's something going on. Do you find that?
Very, very common. In fact, it takes an average of 3 to 7 years for an individual to do anything about their hearing loss. So when they first find out they have it, takes about that, up to 7 years for a lot of people. Many, many reasons for that. But ultimately, in that time, their brain has adapted to the hearing loss and they don't even realize they're missing out on a lot of sounds and a lot of communication. So when somebody is considering getting hearing aids or dealing with their hearing loss and whatever that looks like, then one of the questions that I usually say to them is, in what situations do your family members or your caregivers tell you that you are struggling with communication? Give some examples of that. We depend on them to tell us. We don't know what we're missing
Yes.
when we have
And
hearing loss.
And even when a family member say so, it's also still difficult for the person to actually own up to it, I think. And I think that, as you say, their brain has compensated for that. I'll just tell you just about my dad, who was in the military in the artillery, and they gave them cotton balls to put in their ears back in the 50s. That didn't quite do it, as you might imagine. So as he grew older, he finally did agree to get hearing aids. And he told us then that he had not for years heard the toilet flush or bacon cooking on in the frying pan, and just those things that the rest of us take for granted. He didn't hear them for years and was astonished when he got the hearing aids. It did take many of his buddies a very long time to. Dad was the first in the group to get hearing aids. The rest of them, of course, also needed it in the group that continued to get together. I think that's probably a familiar story to you, Susan.
It is. And you know what I hear most often is my hearing aids are in the drawer. And that's because people get the hearing aids very often, many different reasons, but quite frequently, it's not what they expected. Sounds are different. Your own voice is different. There's stigma attached to it. There is the manipulation using them, changing the batteries. There's so many different things that you're not expecting. And again, as a hearing care counselor, we talk about those realities before they get the hearing aids so they're more prepared and ready for that. And they don't put the hearing aids in the drawer. We counsel them so that they can become more comfortable with it and know what to expect. And I help them learn how to adjust to it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm thinking there's probably people watching right now whose hearing aids are on the dresser or in the drawer, and they haven't used them in a very long time, and they just couldn't get used to them. And that phone number is the number to call, and Susan will help you. And it can make a huge difference, but it doesn't give a person back the hearing that they had before.
No, it doesn't. It's your own voice may sound a bit distorted. It's not necessarily going to be as you expected, but people have to learn that there are adjustments that can be made. Technology has come a long way. There are now rechargeable hearing aids that are available, and technology has improved so that when you get adjustments, there are certain things that can be increased or decreased certain sounds, depending on the expense and the quality of your hearing aid. Not all hearing aids offer this. But Debbie, I want to just add one more really important thing. Another reason why it's really important, if you do have hearing aids or you were prescribed hearing aids, something you should consider is that there are stats now that show to us that an individual with hearing loss is 3 times more likely to fall than an individual with normal hearing. With that, and that's with an increase of 10 decibels of hearing loss. So there's a lot of other reasons why this should be considered. Wearing hearing aids, that's one of them.
Mm-hmm. And falls are the fourth leading cause of death of people 65 and over. A fall as one ages is something to avoid at all costs. So if you've got your hearing aids on the dresser, maybe it's time to give Susan a call and really give it another shot.